morning, Mike. You were telling us yesterday about the conversations you were going to have as a team. Can you walk us through that? Just what sort of conversations you had yesterday? How involved was it? Did it go into the evening? And has there been any resolution or any finding some resolution as far as some action to be taken yet?
Well, I mean, when you talk about conversations, I think it's the obvious is you're having multiple individual conversations throughout the day. We had a chance to address it as a team. Just our direction as far as making sure that everybody has the opportunity to be heard. That was right after practice, and then we took we had a team meeting there at 2:45. We had an open forum. A number of people spoke, and I feel like we have very good dialogue going on. And as far as the direction, we're going to continue to work. Just talking to the couple of the players one-on-one, they want to practice, and so we'll just continue to talk through this. And once again, it's about supporting everybody, particularly from my focus in the football operation, and right now my high focus is on the players.
Mike, certainly players have different goals, but when you talk to these guys, what is your takeaway on what they're looking for from you?
Well, I think, it's not to get into specifics of what each player said in the meeting. I think, frankly, I think it's better served for them to share that with you if they feel the need and desire. So, but I think a lot of it's the obvious. I mean, this is an issue. It's of high concern. It's something that it's on their hearts. It's not only personal to their specific family or where they're from, but it's something that they're bothered by. It's so I think that the energy of how do you move this opportunity into action is really been the primary focus. But once again, everybody comes from somewhere, and everybody has strong beliefs, and I think this is just really a time for me in my position to make sure we listen and understand what their thoughts are.
Mike, was Jerry involved in these meetings at all?
No, Jerry was out of town, but I know he's destined to be involved here in the near future, and I know the players are looking forward to the interaction.
Mike, as you said, you wanted this is a time to listen and have conversations and work through things. At some point, do you believe your role is to say, okay, what sort of response can we craft as a team? What are we going to do here? Or is that something that just happens more organically, or do you have to kind of guide or reach that point?
That's a good question. I think there's the part of our specific interaction with our football team, because Stephen Jones was there with me in the team meeting. Will McClay and Rob Davis is. You got to understand this is a new team. It's a new coaching staff. So, I mean, there is some that growth just on a basic development that you go through in your first year. So, but as far as guidance, yeah, definitely. I mean, this is new territory for us and new territory for new staff. But at the end of the day, we clearly understand what the focus is of the players, and rightfully so. I'm just in a position of support, but I think the most important thing is to have a clear understanding and make sure that we can go about it the right way, the best we can.
Mike, what are your conversations with Rob about this and how you handle this with your players?
What are the conversations? Well, this is an everyday conversation with Rob Davis and I. I mean, we have a long personal history, and if you look at the backgrounds, he comes from inner city Washington D.C. and I'm an inner city Pittsburgh guy, and so I mean we have a lot of the same beliefs and just the time where we grew up, but it's really just to stay in touch with the modern day, athletes and people that we work with every day. So, Rob is a tremendous asset to our football operations, and I think he's doing a great job connecting with our football team.
Mike, was there any kind of vote that the players took as to whether they were going to practice today or not?
No, we really didn't get into that. It was a forum, an open forum, and as a forum, obviously you're still within the, if you can see the environment of social distancing, it's probably not ideal for this type of conversation. But no, we talked about a number of other things, but practice was not a topic.
This is, of course, is going on across the league. Did you talk to any of your colleagues about how they're handling this?
No, I haven't. To be frank, this is between being in an everyday training camp and just really, I think just the fact that it's the newness of everything that we're dealing with here internally. That's where my focus has been.
You mentioned that this is a new team and you all are kind of going through this together. What about for you when you kind of look back on going all the way back to January and everything that you've been through? What's the balance of the whole thing kind of been like for you?
Well, I think every time you turn the corner, it's something different, and I think it's really our life in general. It's more about what's going on in our society, and frankly, I think if you're able to navigate and just function, from just doing things the right way, the best you can. I think it definitely carries over to your professional life, as far as getting a team ready for a football season. So it's an understatement to say it's not been different, but at the end of the day, it's what everybody's going through right now.
Mike, you mentioned obviously that this particular issue is new, but do you look to any times in your career when something similar was happening or some other societal issue that you had to decide how do you prioritize football versus making sure your players also know that you're there for them?
Well, I think that's something that comes, with who you are. These are unprecedented times, so there's really nothing to compare to these particular times, particularly as in my years of being a head coach. But, I think if you just go back to your everyday operation of how you interact, present to the players, and have them understand who you are, that's always been the foundation of my philosophy of coaching. So I think it's very important. You can't coach in this league, especially if your belief is the most important room in the organization is the locker room. So that's the base that I've always operated on. At the end of the day, those men, they perform. They're the key to being successful on the field. So I've always focused on that from a personal and a professional perspective.
When you were in Green Bay, you had Aaron Rodgers, who was involved in a lot of social issues privately. How much do you look back on that to help guide you in what you're doing right now?
Well, I think you always look back on all your past experiences, and not as much as really was the obvious ones. I think it's those private conversations, the private, some of the things that never even come to surface. So that, frankly, that's all part of your education. And it's the development of your instincts and your awareness of just dealing with people. At the end of the day, this is a people business. You can't survive, and you're not going to be very successful if you don't have the ability to interact with all types of people, all different personalities from all walks of life. And that's the key to being successful in the National Football League.
Mike, how do you feel the team practiced yesterday with these discussions and in the background and taking kind of precedence over things? And going forward, how do you continue to have this conversation while assuring everyone focuses on getting ready for the season in such a short period of time?
Well, the ability to separate is important, but the actual practice was of high quality. There was a lot of good work there yesterday. we're kind of at the end of our installation phase. So, just trying to really wrap that up, as we get ready for next week. So I was pleased with the work tomorrow, but this, when we say we had a conversation, I mean, it didn't start and end. I mean, this is a continuing conversation that started in the spring, and now it's obviously heightened with the latest events. But we're just trying to get direction so we can facilitate support and just make sure we're all on the same page here.
As a white man,
Mike, are there any more conversations with Earl Thomas?
Excuse me?
Mike, are there any more conversations with the club and Earl Thomas?
I really don't have anything else to report on the roster. So yeah, I haven't been part of any conversations.
As a white man in America, you inherently cannot know the experience of a black individual in America. How do you navigate being the leader that you need to be in a locker room where predominantly the players are black? How do you navigate being there for them?
Well, it's an excellent point, and it's something I think you have to be real and state the obvious. I mean, that's frankly was the point that I made back after George Floyd death in my opening statement. I don't think I can sit, even though I'm in front of a microphone or in front of the room as the leader of the football team, and even for a second know exactly what the black community is going through. So I think the biggest thing that I can be is to be honest and frankly listen, and to make sure that there is a clear understanding, because I am one of the key communicators in our football operation, and just to make sure you keep the messaging and the understanding and the support flowing to the players, and hopefully everybody can be part of the progress that needs to obviously happen here.
With where you are,
I'm sorry?
Mike, after such a long layoff for Alden and what he was going through, and to come out and do what he's done, are you at the point where week one you expect him to be almost every down or whatever kind of role he'll be in type of player?
I mean, Alden's doing an excellent job. I mean, you could just see the instincts that he plays with. His ability to recognize blocks and just things that he obviously he did at a very high level back in San Francisco. So as far as how much any of the guys are going to play, that's to be determined. We haven't really hit the game plan part of it. We'll get into that next week for the Rams, and as far as rotations and things like that, frankly that's all part of the game plan.
How good was it to see Tyron and Lyle kind of do individuals yet?
It's great to have them out. It's they're obviously big anchors out there on the offensive line. So they're both doing well, and hopefully they can continue to progress.
Do you expect them to do anything in the scrimmage on Sunday?
Excuse me?
Do you expect them to do anything in the scrimmage on Sunday?
We'll see. We'll see how today goes. Yeah, we did this. Anytime you're in training camp, particularly with players coming back, it's always day to day.
with where you are from an installation standpoint, how close are we to seeing live elements of practice be introduced?
Well, that's something of heavy discussion throughout this week. We won't be live today, and we'll go through it again Sunday morning. We have a big staff meeting Sunday, so that's a to be determined decision also.
With that in mind a little bit, Mike, with no preseason games, would you say that the 11-11 onward has been about normal for a camp, or is it maybe a tick faster just because you know how important all of that is with no preseason games?
I'll say this. I would say it's a tick faster than my experience, and I think the one thing you have to realize, there's benefits of being on the grass and there's benefits of being on the turf. I think that the long-term benefits are to practice on grass, but when you're emphasizing tempo and getting your team ready to play with the full wide open team periods, they play there's a faster tempo on turf. So the fact that we've been on the turf, a lot throughout this last 7 days, I'm very, very impressed with the tempo of how our guys are practicing, particularly in how they're finishing. It's a different practice structure than it was here in the past, and it's common. I've been a 2 hour and 50-minute to a 3-hour practice coach in the past, and when you go to a shorter, quicker practice, there's a training component involved where the players have to really learn not to save themselves which is natural when you practice at a longer period of time. So it took us a while to get through that, and you're seeing it now, particularly this week. The guys are practicing much faster. You can see it in the resources that we have to measure that. So I've been very pleased with the tempo, the energy, and particularly the speed, the way we've been practicing the last couple of days.
Mike, you've been in the stadium a couple of times since you've won the Super Bowl. Nate. Sorry about that, Coach. You guys have you've been in the stadium a couple of times since you won the Super Bowl. To go there this weekend as the Cowboys head coach for the first time, what will that mean to you, and what memories sort of come back from your Super Bowl run here that week in Dallas?
I mean, AT&T Stadium will always be special, obviously because of the success from the past. But I'm really looking forward to having, great success there, moving into the future. Frankly, it was a Sunday evening a few months back. I actually took a ride out there. Frankly, I wanted to see how long it was from Frisco, and took a ride out there, and it's it's such a magnificent venue. So definitely, I'm looking forward to personally going there Sunday, and really looking forward to having such a great home field advantage here for the Dallas Cowboys. It's a tremendous venue, and frankly, obviously, when you get the fans in there, it even goes to a different level. So it's a special place.
Mike, was it the right knee that? Mike, was it the right knee that Mitch Hyatt injured? And do we know the severity of the injury yet, or have you heard any test results?
Yeah, we'll be releasing that here in the near future. Exactly what Mitch is dealing with.
How big is this scrimmage for some of your younger players, because you don't have a preseason to kind of get that part of the evaluation process?
Well, it's not a scrimmage per se. It's more of a practice. I mean, it's going to look like a practice. Is the media going to be there?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's going to look like a normal practice to what you've seen. There'll be more team periods, but it's we're doing all the game day mechanics, leading up to it, as far as the pregame meal, the bus ride out there. So we're really actually using the time frames that are going to be similar to our first game out there in Los Angeles. So it's more about getting those components in order. But all these practices are important to the young guys. I mean, there's phases in each practice that are tailored to the young players, and this will be a more distinct as far as the reps breakdown for the younger players. So they'll get more reps Sunday and Monday than they have to this point. So, but the basis of scrimmage, no scrimmage, we really haven't made that decision yet.
There seemed like a clear expectation going into training camp, based on your comments, that the team predominantly would work outdoors on natural grass. That was your preference prior to arrival. What brought that expectation to evolve, where the team is predominantly worked outdoors or inside at the sports center?
Well, are you here if you're here at the start, just look out the window. We're in the process of getting a new field out there. We had some issues with the grass, and it's going to be replaced here in the next day or so. All right. Thank you.